Trick Mellow Gang is really that. They always gonna be
Yeah,
here.
they
Right
always.
now, this needs to happen. You have two young up and coming superstars who are possibly the future of the business that need to make sure they establish themselves as that. After that happens, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Might end up being unified tag team champions one day. Never say never. But right now, we try. Although we try and oh wow, that was a bad fall from for Malik. Even though we look at them, Trick Mellow Gang is really that. They always gonna be
Yeah,
here.
they
Right
always.
now, this needs to happen. You have two young up and coming superstars who are possibly the future of the business that need to make sure they establish themselves as that. After that happens, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Might end up being unified tag team champions one day. Never say never. But right now, we try. Although we try and oh wow, that was a bad fall from for Malik. Even though we look at them breaking up, we never say never in this business. So never to say that they might not get back together. But right now, yes, it's so hard to say goodbye. R.I.P. Trick Mellow Gang. And as an effect, I don't have no water. But pour one out for all the dead homies.
I ain't poured my wine out. I'll drink
No,
it.
don't pour it out. I'm gonna pour the water out. I'm gonna pour one out for all my dead homies. Right here. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
To all my homies. Trick Mellow Gang is really that. They always gonna be
Yeah,
here.
they
Right
always.
now, this needs to happen. You have two young up and coming superstars who are possibly the future of the business that need to make sure they establish themselves as that. After that happens, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Might end up being unified tag team champions one day. Never say never. But right now, we try. Although we try and oh wow, that was a bad fall from for Malik. Even though we look at them breaking up, we never say never in this business. So never to say that they might not get back together. But right now, yes, it's so hard to say goodbye. R.I.P. Trick Mellow Gang. And as an effect, I don't have no water. But pour one out for all the dead homies.
I ain't poured my wine out. I'll drink
No,
it.
don't pour it out. I'm gonna pour the water out. I'm gonna pour one out for all my dead homies. Right here. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
To all my homies. What's going on, everybody? Yes, we are back. We are back. We are live. We are direct. As you can see, this is Living Lash Moment. I have put my lashes on for this very special episode of Watch What Happens NXT. It's the honorary Wrestling Girl Seindole B. She's in the building. She's sold today. No special guests, but shout out to all the special guests that have been here with me, before me, and even the ones that I have cooked up that are going to be with me. You never know who's going to pull up. I love a good surprise. Y'all love a good surprise. Let's just say that I got a lot in store. There's a lot in store. My two head boss girls, my boss babes, Krista B and Queen PR. I want to shout out them. They also know what I'm cooking up. So it's just a lot. We in the factory. We're making this network thing happen. I've been calling it the TWG network. You know, manifesting per usual. But as always, I want to thank you guys for joining me 6 p.m. before your favorite Tuesday night show, soon to be Friday night or whatever night CW puts it on, show for your annual Watch What Happens NXT episode. There's so much to unpack. There's a lot that happened last week, and there's a lot that also went around because it was pre-taped. I'm letting y'all know full here and full now. No, I will not be spoiling anything. You're not allowed to be in the chat spoiling anything. I will not be posting anything spoiled in the chat because I am a person that likes surprises. I don't care if it was pre-taped. Shout out to everybody who is in Perth, Australia, who was holding down the fort. But as far as me spoiling anything that happened last week, you're not going to get out of me. If you want to do that, Google's right there. So we're getting that out the way. First and foremost, if you're not watching this tonight, you will see a replay post on YouTube. You will be able to catch the live stream replays on all of TWG's platforms. You will be also to catch it on my platforms. I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. If you're watching from X, if you're watching from YouTube on those Wrestling Girls, if you're watching from Twitch on those Wrestling Girls, I thank you. I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I also want to shout out everything else they got going on. TWG just posted an amazing chef's kiss amazing episode of the Those Wrestling Girls podcast with Emilio Sparks. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in. It was a lot to dive in. It was a great conversation. So if you guys did not get your notifications, which your notifications should be on, you might want to turn your notifications onto your YouTube channel, and you might not want to miss this episode. I personally enjoyed it. I was watching it. It's a lot of gems. You don't want to miss that. If you're not in tune to that, we also have fan club tomorrow with Queen PR. I'll be hanging out with the club with her as usual, with Mr. Brian H. Waters from Wrestling Realm, and it's Justin Rich. They're the three best friends that anybody can have. Oh, my singing's getting better. Hello. They're also going to be hanging out with the clubs. And tomorrow is interesting because it is WWE Network Appreciation Night. So if you are watching this, I just spoiled it. But I only know if you know what's going on because I spoiled it for y'all. But it is WWE Network Appreciation Night. So we're going to be doing throwbacks. We're going to be talking about how you used to be chop down your throat to pay $9.99 to make sure you get all this amazing, Netflix content. And then you think about it, it laid the groundwork for Netflix. I had to think about that. But and also if you're not into that, see, there's so much more content. You can also catch a awesome stream with Carissa B, Chris Contreras, the movie star. I'm throwing that out there because she's a movie star. She's gonna tell you she's not, but she is. And Pablo Dadon, because they have schooling sessions every Friday at 4:00. So there's so much going on. There's a lot. I know I'm solo dolo today, but that's because I want to chat it up with you guys. I want you to tell your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your hot brother, your hot cousin, anybody who's single, preferably for me. I want you to tell them to jump into this chat. And if they like NXT, if they even like wrestling, if they like old school black and gold, if they like, 2.0, if they like yellow and black, if they like any form of NXT, tell them to jump in the chat. We still got time. We're everywhere. There's so much to unpack from this last episode of the 20th that I think is going to lead, because there's, of course, besides Stand Deliver, before the NXT cast hands Stand Deliver, there is NXT Roadblock. NXT Roadblock, I believe, is scheduled for next week. There's a lot of building towards it, which I always say NXT is always consistent with building. So with that coming up, there's so much I'm going to cover there. There were some people who decided to follow in the path of returning to NXT, who returned to NXT last week. We had surprises happen that we didn't see coming. We had so much happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play another quick video, and then we could just get started off into the mess tone. But again, shout out to everybody who's already jumped in the chat. Patrick, what's going on? Rikarsha, they're not too loyal. They might be my VIPs. I don't know. More people need to get on YouTube and Twitch, because no one's beating them lately. Like, they always, shout out to them, because they're up on every live, they're up on every Twitch stream, they're up on YouTube, they're just live. They're not here for the mess, they're here to support. And that's what I love. That's why I love this community. So again, I will be right back. I'm gonna spotlight somebody who I love to spotlight, a title that I'm probably gonna go into when it comes to appreciating tag teams and championships and all that tonight, and I'll be right back. Think that any African American or anybody even of Latino descent, because shout out to Dominic and Draven Lee, and even Damian Priest had it at one point, if I'm not mistaken. Damian Priest was also the North American champion at one point, and look at where he is now. He's senior Money in the Bank, an undisputed tag team champ. Look at what all these accomplishments can do for somebody with the North American championship. So let's not think about it as they don't want to give us anything but that. Let's think about it as this is a stepping stone, and it should be treated like a stepping stone. Y'all, like, you don't understand right now, WWE's in a place where they're fighting to put respect on all their belts, which is why you have Gunther being the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship of all time. We're having arguments about Roman Reigns possibly beating Hogan's record. We had one of the longest reigning undisputed tag team champions in the Usos. You have now Logan Paul carrying the US Championship. Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania will be, for the first time, the first women's full year WWE champion. You have Io Sky, who can possibly carry this up to SummerSlam should what we think's gonna happen at WrestleMania. We're trying to put legitimacy on all the belts, and I feel like the North American Championship deserves that same respect. So we're gonna dive into, speaking of North American Championships, we're gonna jump right into it. Last week, the week before, and shout out to Josh, who I had as a special guest on my show. We dived into how we feel like Fufu Gunta, as Kaz will call it. We dived into how it's gonna be very interesting to see how this reign goes, because you don't have somebody of power and of stature like Ubafemi on the roster. But I feel like after watching this specific match, this was the first time I ever seen him kind of have a good offense in an opponent, because everything else has just been high flying, slow kick, slow that. His match with Dragon Lee wasn't as impactful as the match that he had with this person. So the week before, you had Lexis King come out after Obafemi came out and basically said, listen, I'm willing to have anybody challenge me. Send anybody you want, but don't send anybody you want back. And Lexis King said, well, I might as well join in the fray. So you had Lexis King versus Obafemi for the North American Championship. Listen, great opener. This match, it had me twisting my nails a little bit, because honestly, Lexis King, and like I said, I'm a big fan of his real name, Brian Pillman Jr., of course. I'm a big fan of him. I didn't like his gimmick in the other promotion too much. It was a good like cave way for him. It was a good opener for him, but it wasn't him. And I feel like this technicality that he's learning down there, this character development that he's having down there, it, like, for a close second, he looked like he was a quick cheat win away from winning this match. And I honestly got to give it to him, more than anything, that he literally had moments where he had Obafemi. Like Obafemi, of course, we know he can chop you with one backhand. You can hear it from across the rafters. He can slam you. It's only it takes, really, what I've noticed in this match for Obafemi, and anybody who's strategically watching who does want a championship match with him, is that he's very hard to have when he's being, well, let me put it the right way. It's very hard to keep him off his hands, but if you can keep him off his hands and you can stay out of his hands and keep him off his toes, you have a chance. And that's what I noticed in Lexis King. Like every opportunity that Lexis King had to bring him down, whether it be with chops or quick chops, he took it and he almost had it. But I think two things happened. Of course, he took the moment probably too cocky wise and decided that, I got this match. I'm just gonna take my time with it, which is that I noticed it was you can't take your time with Obafemi. Like you have to stay quick, you have to stay stable. And then with Robert Stone coming out and interrupting the whole entire thing, which I feel I'm gonna have to dive into another episode if the match that I think is gonna happen, because I know that Lexis King is supposed to tie in with Noam Dar. No, sorry, Noam Dar with Von Wagner tonight. I want to know what people think of Robert Stone always kind of creating issues for Von Wagner, which is what I feel like is happening with this. But again, I'm going to take my time. We're going to watch it play out, because that's a takeaway that's a takeaway for a future episode. I feel like if Lexis King hadn't gotten distracted, he would have had the North American Championship. I don't know. That's my opinion. Like I said before, everybody got in, they started interrupting. It was giving quick. It was giving quick pin. The match was only like five 5 minutes and 45 seconds. And all it took was like a power bomb and for Oba to do his old toss thing. Like he didn't even have to loud chop the boy. Like it took so short of time for that match to end, but it was all based off distraction. So now Oba is right back to square one. He has to see who they don't want back in the locker room for them to come back out and challenge him. And we'll probably get that tonight. Hopefully we get that tonight. But speaking of people coming off the distraction, one match that I know for a fact, in the segment that had my eyes peered open, was what led to this. Tonight you have Noam Dar, who is your NXT Heritage Cup holder, going up one of the members of the No Quarter Catch crew. And I find this interesting because I spent my day trying to guess who it might be, but this picture kind of says it all. Like he's kind of so what I think is gonna happen, I'll be really honest with you. What I think is gonna happen, especially from the segment, the last two segments showed me that he clearly wants this. And I think he might be building them up because he wants this. He doesn't, I don't think he really cares about any other championship because he's already tried to be North American champion. They've already tried for the tag team champion. They've already tried for the they've tried it all. They haven't really kept their objective onto one thing, and Drew Gulak's their leader. And I love Drew Gulak because I think he's such a good technician. I think NXT is kind of giving him that boost in how he would do as like a stable manager, but he's still being a good technician all around. Um, I think this is what he's going for the most. I don't know if he cares about anything else. I don't think he cares about anything else. I think he's looking at this like this is mine. This is something that I can have. And now that I have the numbers, and when I say the numbers, I mean having Miles Osborne and Kep and Charlie Demps to have them, that's my numbers. Because before, I don't know if, and I don't know if it's just me, I don't think anybody gets the point of the Heritage Cup. I feel like it's been lost in translation. I feel like Noam Dar is lazy, getting lazy. Like even in the segment, the part where he was like, "Oh, this is boring. Like you're boring." When Drew was trying to explain to him, "Dude, like I'm coming for your cup. Like you don't understand how much this would mean to me." He's basically telling him like, if I want it, I can have it. I'm gonna take it. And Noam Dar's reaction was like, dude, you're boring. We've heard this before. I know how much the cup is important because I'm important and I have the cup. He came off really cocky. And that was the first time I really see him cocky. Any other time, he's been cocky and he's been funny, but he's been very much able to back it up. I hate to doubt Noam Dar, but I don't think he can back this up. I really don't think he can back this up. I don't think he can back this up because, like I said, it's different when it was, for example, Alpha Academy. Alpha Academy had Tozawa, had Otis, and had Maxine in his corner, but then you had Lash and Jakar playing the quick game and helping him out because, and this is no shade to Messi, but he's just not useful. Let's say that nicely. He's just not useful to me. That's just my opinion. Sorry. He's not that useful. He's just for getting like beat up so that Norm doesn't get beat up, but he's not like impactful. That's gonna kick me in the ass to say one day if he should be useful one time, but that's just my opinion now. But now, like, even if you look at this, like look at who Julek has in his corner. I think that Noam Dar has not had anybody serious best him since Chad Gable went up against him. And even Josh Briggs was really close, but I don't feel like those two matches specifically, ever since then, it's kind of been like, okay, we're just having this match that y'all remember there's a Heritage Cup. Like I said, WWE's in a bounce where they're putting legitimacy on their belts. I don't know how well it's going to fold up with the cup. You might not see the cup anymore in NXT. That's my bold prediction. They might not keep that whole Heritage Cup thing going. I think it's nice to have. I think if they turned into a belt, it will be cooler. I don't know how long the Heritage Cup is going to be there. So it's going to be interesting tonight, this match. If it's one of the opponents, I think is personally going to be Charlie Dempsey because I think Dempsey's going to weaken Noam Dar. I think something along that line is going to happen. But let's see what happens. So back on those two opinions, we're going to jump right back into Lexus King. I think Lexus King should go for the Heritage Cup. I feel like, and you know what? And even me saying that, I don't have that much faith in it because he plays games by himself very well. He doesn't play games with other very well. Like he would not be like if Jakara or Lash, which my theory about them two is going to come up really soon because I think Metaphor was fun while it lasted. I don't think it's lasting that long. If they're really trying to push Lash where they're going, I don't think it's lasting long, but that's neither here or there. That's probably going to tie into this comment right here. I think that Lexus King could be like your Heritage Cup champion and that be okay. Like I think he'll have that. I think he, of course, a king with a cup, like a king on his throne. That makes more sense, right? I think that people are going to have a hard time taking it away from him. I think he just needs the right person in his corner that plays just as much games as him. I don't know if it's going to be a male or female or someone new. It could be one of the people they're trying to push up from the NIL program that hasn't been featured on TV. Like have we seen everybody? We haven't seen anybody because we haven't seen Dion yet from the breakout tournament debut. They're still keeping Tavion Heights in um level up for some reason, which blows my mind. It's gonna be one of the two. He just needs somebody in his corner, but even at that, like he's a fair advantage. He has a chance. Let's see what happens. We don't know what's gonna happen. So next, I'm going to go into what led to this match. The first segment of the night was you had Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin come out and greet the crowd. Of course, we all know that Braun Breaker is officially SmackDown's newest signed talent. He had his debut match on Friday, killed it, knocked it out the park, speared everybody left and right. You already know how Braun Breaker do. And then let him even have a little bit of tan on. I was happy to see that because it's not Braun without the tan. They let him have it on. But he still has unfinished business down in the Performance Center. And that unfinished business was deciding between the two men you see over here. That is Chase, who was promised by the family to have a tag team match. Basically, no matter whether the family wins or lose, they were promised a match and they banked it on their promise because they paid back whatever money that, Chase was funneling. They gave it back, won a tag team title. But then you had Nathan Frazier, who I know he gave like shout out to Seth Rollins when he was like, no, 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 no. I don't think so, pal. That's not how this works. He came out swinging. He was like, no, we are next in line. We have been waiting. We were like the what was it, the third quarter up? I think in the semifinals, they got beaten in the semifinals by Braun and Corbin actually, and they were like, we're next, like we're the next up. I don't know what you guys think you're doing, but we're up. Let's be very fair about this. So they were like, all right, Ava comes out. She says, you know what? Both of y'all can have a match, and whoever wins that match, they're the number one contenders. Let's be fair about it. And to me, again, second best night of the match for me was this match. You had your high flyers all in one spot. You had the people who can catching them. I think Duke will be very great by himself once he's by himself pretty soon. Very soon, I should say that. I think that Chase, he has to work on building the confidence back with the crowd as a face, because I think the whole storyline of him funneling money kind of confused people. I think it confused people a lot. And I think Axiom and Frazier, if they're going to be an established tag team, they need more matches like this. So all in all, worked out. The match was really good. However, Nathan Frazier and Axiom came up short. You have Chase, coming up with the victory, and then you see these two legends walk into the fold. Yes, that is Luke Gallows. That is Carl Anderson, the Good Brothers, aka the OC, aka the former Bullet Club, walking into a different type of club. They have announced that they are back at NXT because they feel like there's some cleaning up to do. They have some things they want to take care of. They never had a chance at NXT Gold. Kind of taking an ode to what was going on with AJ Styles when he went up against Grayson Waller back when he went to NXT. He was like, I've never been to NXT. I never got to hang out here, so I'm gonna have my one-on-one match. They're saying they're basically here to stay. They were looking at the tag team championships. Of course, I don't know if they're gonna be able to take it off of Braun Breaker and Corbin. I don't know how long this is gonna last. If they do take it off of them, it'll be interesting. I think it's gonna happen. I don't know, because I don't even know how I think they're going to probably wait for Roadblock for the tag team championships to be defended, because that will make sense for it to go and stand deliver with that. I don't know how you guys feel. You guys can tell me in the comment section below. What do we think of the OC possibly being NXT champions? Can they add that to their stature? Can they rise above? Because it's a whole new crop. Let's be real. Like, not to shade their age or nothing. I'm shading their age. Sorry, Lord. Not to shade their age or anything, but it's not easy chopping down here. Like, it's not It's not easy choppings down there at all. Like, you've seen what Nathan Frazier and Axiom can do. You've seen what Duke and Chase can do. You've seen even what Malika Idris could do, and they have a match with Malika Idris tonight. So you're gonna see a little bit of that. I'm praying it's not a squash match. Like, I'm tired of Malika and Idris getting squashed. That's just, and I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm I'm ready to go to sleep on that. I'm hoping they don't get squashed. Please, Lord, don't let them get squashed. Malik was even on his Instagram hinting that they might be changing their gimmick to look more like a team. It has something to do with soul. It's a great ode to Black History Month. I'm waiting to see what it is. I'm itching. We're probably gonna end this a little earlier so I can see what's going on. But the OCs got their work cut out for them. There's a lot of good tag teams I just talked about. No Quarter Catch Crew. Imagine two of them trying to go up against those guys. One's a full blown technician. One's a powerhouse. One's a small like powerhouse who can lift people up. I'm talking about Kemp because I've seen Kemp go solo by himself. He's a good technician and he's strong. Um, it's not chopped liver down there. Like it's not easy pickings for them. They're gonna try and make it seem like it is. I don't think they are, in my opinion. It's not gonna be easy. So I'm waiting to see what happens with that. Um, and also now that I think about it, it was the right move for them to go back to NXT because I don't know what there is much for them. If they don't build down an NXT, which is a guaranteed opportunity to always be on TV and always be featured, I don't know what opportunity holds for them on a main roster. It looks like with that storyline outside of NXT talking, AJ Styles is like he's completely done with everybody. He's done with Michin, he's done with them. So he already had like a segment with Carl Anderson where he basically was like, I'm not about to tell y'all what's going on with me. Y'all just gonna have to figure it out. And it seemed like they were already breaking up as a fraction. So I just want to see what's gonna go on with this. Is it their way of getting better down there so they get back into the good graces of AJ Styles? I don't know. AJ Styles seems like he wants to be solo because he's feeling the way that Drew's feeling. Like, y'all forgot who the hell I am, so now I'm gonna show y'all, which is why he interrupted the Elimination Chamber. So it looks like it's him and Randy. I'm not sure. I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's see what happens. Basically, if they do become tag team champions, good for them. They're one of the people that deserved it. I thought the New Day having it was good. I want to see where they go with that. To be first say, I don't know if it's going to be a quick handoff. Let's just see what happens. Next, real quick, before I jump into any segments, I'm going to run through the results real quick. You had, I'm going to save that. I gotta get into this. This was finally a follow-up to what we talked about last week with Josh with Briggs kind of saying like you need to toughen the hell up, Jensen, because Jensen was like, I miss the crew, I miss my friends. We were doing so well together, and Briggs wasn't hearing that. He was like, listen, you need to be on your own. I need to be my own. You need to toughen up, stop being a bitch about this. You need to toughen up. You need to toughen up. You need to toughen up quick. So they basically had one of the grueling matches, one of the long, like it's been a while since we had a grueling match like that wasn't like a no DQ, like a street fight. Like, it felt like street fight, like brawl fight rules. It felt like all they were missing was the APA door and the sign and the bar and the bartender. All they was missing was fouling because they brawled out. This wasn't even a match. This was like a fight between two very good friends that used to be friends. And it makes me think because I remember when they started, their gimmick was that the reason why they became a tag team in the first place was because they fought in a bar and they realized that they whooped each other's asses so bad that they just needed to become a tag team. But it worked. Think about it for a second. It made them NXT UK tag team champions. And that kind of, I was like, so this is what the fight was looking like? Like, I would like, that bar must be a mess. Like, this is what it was looking like. You had Briggs started bleeding. You had like, and I give full credit to Jensen because like he's been on Level Up and he's been displaying great like sportsmanship. But way to go. Like, he really, really showed how technical, how fast, how willing he could be. And like, for me, I think that's what Briggs was trying to bring out of him. Like, he knows his friend or his former friend or former tag team rather is really good. Like, he has the ability to go to hole himself. He don't need to hold on to the past. He don't need him. He don't even need Fallon. Like he needs to, and I want to say really hone in on who he is as a person. And I feel like that's what he was going for. And I hope that Jensen got the point, because even it was like a little emotional. Like Briggs was like, "I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this because I love you. Like, come on, like fight me. I'm doing this because I'm. This is for you." Blah blah. Like he's beating sense to him. Like, look, you don't need me. Like you're good by yourself. Like why are you doubting yourself? And that's what I wonder about Jensen, is because he's been trying all these. We talk about level up. He's been trying all these gimmicks. He's been trying the new trunks, the new music, the change of music. Even for this match, he didn't even stick to what he was doing before. He was still in like jeans and in his boots, like he wanted to be like back in his tag team. And it's like, you're not getting the point. Like we need you to fold your own. We need you to be yourself. It's okay to miss the crew, but focus on the objectives. You can get a title, you can go to main roster, you can become a fan favorite, like be by yourself. Because that's what the conversation that I guess Briggs took away from JBL was. You need to do the same thing if you want to be a future, if you want to be a JBL, if you want to be even not a legend, if you want to be a Seth Rollins, if you want to be a Braun Breaker, if you want to be a Roman Reigns, like in this business, you have to literally learn to be yourself and not let anybody get in your way. And Jensen needs to get that. Briggs, I know for a fact he gets it. He clearly showed when he took the one on that one. But Jensen just needs a little bit more. He needs to get it. He needs to get it. It's not even more time. He's had enough time. He's been on Level Up. He has his win-loss record went up on Level Up because I think now they've noticed that he's great at a pre-open show. So they've put him pre-open. He's doing really well. Like his match with Javon Evans was probably a really good match because he finally found somebody who's just as technical and high flying as him. And he got high flyed a couple of times. So with that being said, no, Vaughn. Hi, Vaughn. No, I'm not putting on no more mellow shades. Speaking of mellow, though, might as well dive right into it. Mello, your boy, went back to the chop shop. He went back to the chop shop. New chain. They probably got tired of him getting clowned on that jacket, so he put a different type of jacket on. Even though his jacket's been fire, I'm gonna need Queen PR to find Queen PR. If you are watching, if we need a wrestling meets pop culture on these jackets, because I didn't know where he found them from. I didn't know the maker. I didn't know the look. Make sure y'all tune in to watch Wrestling Meets Pop Culture with Cream PR, because you need to tap into that, because his jacket's been fire. He had a fire ass jacket. It looked like a Philip Flam jacket. It looked like a Philip Land jacket. I'm not sure. We need to find out where these jackets coming from. I'm gonna talk to her. But basically, he was in the chop shop doing what me and Josh Gers, shout out to him last week on the chat. We're basically chatting about was that, in my opinion, Melo's going the route of, instead of saying that I had to turn my back on you, not just saying that he had to turn his back on him to show that he's number one, basically making him say that, oh, I'm putting you in your place because you fell out of place. Basically meaning that everything is your fault. Like when he was in the chop shop and he brought back memories, like he used nostalgia against him. Basically saying that this was our place. We had everything working out. I was number one. You were over there. I was the man. That was clear. I brought you on to hype me up, and that's all you ever be. He said you were always my hype man. But then when you start going through the vignette, what was interesting to me was he brought up all the memories of like Mello being in the shadows and Mello coming out second to him. And then he was kind of like, I brought you on so I could show you what it's like. Like, I'm trying to show you what the highlight is: the ladies, the club, the pools, the celebrations, the titles, holding the gold. But I wanted you to be there behind me, not in front of me. And that's when I'm like, all right, people were really digging the heels into him. And I'm glad they did it as a segment and not as a live, because the crowd is just relentless. You can't blame them. That means that the heel approach is working. Thank God. He was very much like, I would have even, when he said, I would have had you as my number, like, I think he threw out like a 3,000 or 2,100 or a 5. Hell, I would have had you as a number 2, but I saw you eyeing my gold. Like, I saw you take advantage of yourself, doing things on your own. He was like, I would even had you as like you were supposed to take the Dusty Cup with me, and we were supposed to be tag team champions. But that wasn't enough for you. You still want what I have. You still want what's mine. And you thought you could beat Ilya, and you not smarter than me, because me going outside with Ilya, how could you not read the lines? Like, I purposely made that match not easy for you because you need to understand that you're second to me. You're not number one. You falling for this dumbass crowd and everything they got going on. You second to me. And you need to understand that you're second to me. And that was gold. That part of it was gold. That part of it was very smart. To me, it digs into what's going to happen. And I guarantee you, again, from this face to face, you were going to get Ilya and Hayes part 4, because I'm just loving them both. I like them both in the ring. I'm biased. Heel or face or whoever's who, I like them both in the ring. Like, I like Ilya and Carmelo just seem to put on magic whenever they're in the ring together. They're like, it's like him and Braun. Like, that's his second best. Well, that's his third best dance partner that Carmelo has had. So to me, it's just like it's setting up the perfect goal, because if this is a send off for Carmelo, he's about to have the best run storylines consistently wise. He's about to have the best run to date when it comes to a consistent NXT superstar. And it's easy to be predictable. I don't want to be predictable ahead of Roadblock. It is live. If Trick does show up and mess up that opportunity or kind of be the ghost that haunts him, it's great storytelling. Like, he's playing the heel so well. He's digging into the fact that, like, it's not my fault. It's not me, it's you. Like, you did this, Trick. And what I've noticed also, and I don't know if anybody's going to agree with me, is that he's dropping the eye off the ball. He's caring too much about having an opinion with what's going on with it. He's not caring too much about going up against Ilya. He's more cocky in the sense, like, I'm going to take back what's mine. Ilya's been training in the gym, been posting these videos of him jumping rope at 1,000 miles per minute. Like, he's just been going off. Like, he's like, no one's taking this from me. I told y'all how red eye Ilya is. Like, he even put red eye Ilya on. And y'all know how I felt about red eye Ilya Dragunov. When the red eyes come on, the dragon is here. Like, the dragon is about to breathe fire. Like, the minute you say Jakatis, like, that's how I feel about Ilya Dragunov. So he's been waiting, and I feel like Carmelo Hayes is wasting his time trying to prove to himself and make a point to Trick that I'm better than you. And it might bite him. Say they do go into Roadblock and that's his last opportunity chance. It could really bite him in the ass. Like, really bite him in the ass. And I don't know. I don't want it to be predictable, but it's going to be predictable to the point where, yeah, it's going to bite him in the ass. It really will. And that bothers me, because that's not the way I want Trick to go out, but it is the way I want him to go out. Everybody's basically saying they want street fight energy at Stand and Deliver. Fingers crossed it is street fight energy. No more barbershop segments. I'm done. Don't have him fight in the chop shop or the Wiz or wherever the barbershop was. I don't want to know. But it is giving that energy. Trick Williams been sitting too comfortably. He hasn't been on social media. And Booker T is back tonight. That's something y'all need to pay attention to. Booker T, as reported, is back on commentary tonight. He is at the hospital. So I feel like Booker T is going to play a role in this. I hope he plays a significant role in it. I really do, because I miss Booker T. I miss the ad libs. I know he's going to be basically speaking up for his boy Trick. He's going to say how disappointed he is in Mello. Mello's going to hear about it. It's going to cause mess tone. It's just a whole bunch of it that can go in so many ways, but I'm excited about that segment. So real quick to the chat. Shout out to Tribal Chief Zoe. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Hey, Stephanie, baby, how are you? You missed my whole conversation about Briggs. I ain't getting into no lady stuff yet. I ain't getting to the ladies last tonight. But I agree with you. I think that Melo's being cagey, like him being cocky, is definitely working in his favor, because he wasn't this level of heel at first. He was more like, I got swag and I'm super bad. But now he's like, no, I'm a badass. Like, I'm a badass MF. Like, that's the energy he's been given, and it really is working in his favor. So the next segment I'm going to go into, which before I tap into women's business real quick, I'm gonna tap into Roxanne. Well, I'm gonna start off with women's business because this too a lot for me to tap into. You have Roxanne Perez, and the picture I'm showing over here up top all the way in the corner was the repercussion of Roxanne slapping the piss taste out of Ren Sinclair. And basically Ava's had enough of her crap. You can tell from Ava's had enough of her ish. And she's basically like, you want to sit around and swing people? Every time you swing on somebody, you're going to have to show your hands in a ring. So Ava set up the match between Ren Sinclair and Roxanne Perez. And I see where they're going with Ren Sinclair. They're trying to feature her a lot more. They're giving her main roster chances to her. Her win-loss is the same. She's on the same path as Izzy Dane. Before Izzy Dane's win-loss record started getting better. She's in the same path. And where I felt like this went was it showed that Roxanne had a more aggressive side. Like even in her promo, she had a more aggressive side in her promo. Walking out, she had a more aggressive side in her promo. Like Roxanne is starting to finally be aggressive. The way she should have been aggressive from the start after everything was going on. And to me, that shows that she literally doesn't care about being face or heel. She cares about herself now. She sees that a lot of people are stepping over her. She sees now, especially we go on later, we're going to talk about it later, like later on in the match with Lash Legend going up against Lyra after Shotzi had her chance at Lyra. Sis threw a whole TV down. Like she's losing her mind. Like threw a whole TV away in front of the newbies, scaring the newbies, proving that she's like top frustrated. She did give compliments to Rhea, showing she shows a lot of promise and she sees a lot of self in her. Because when Roxanne first came out, she was happy. She had a best friend, Cora. They were a tag team. She was a breakout star winner. She had a chance and all that stuff. Like they became the tag team champions after winning. And then she got backstabbed by her best friend. And then she never lost that title. Like I said before, we talked about this. Like Roxanne's the girl who never loses, but is still losing. She lost the title. Then she gets the women's championship, has the best match of her career against Mito Satomura, passes out, has to relinquish that title. Tiffany ends up with a title and she doesn't even get a title match after that. Like it must be frustrating to be on the outside looking in and never have a chance. So I get it. When she said that being happy won't cut it, and she said you'll see a lot of superstars get opportunities that they don't deserve. Roxanne is very much in you're not giving me what I deserve. You're not giving me what's mine. And like I said, I joked about her with Josh and I said, girl, we know. You the girl that never lost your belt. The earth ain't flat. It's round. Snow ain't cold. Frozen water don't make ice. Like we get it. Like frozen water make ice. We get it. We get it, girl. We understand. But like you complaining, I don't know if it's going to work in your favor. Hopefully it works in her favor to a round 2 where it's not just, there's no more load let it interrupt the match. I think we're leaning towards a part 2 with her and Lyra for, if not Stand Deliver, definitely for Roadblock. But I still feel like Roxanne's going to come up short. I still feel like Roxanne's going to be pissed. I still feel like Roxanne's going to cost herself the match. Because now she's growing unhinged. Now she's going crazy. And she basically said the only person that can make her feel happy around here is herself. Imagine her going into that match and her losing that match. She's going to go ape shit on Lyra. And if for that self, this might be the first consistent feud that Lyra has. She might, if Tatum, who was told to stay backstage for the first time ever, decides to interrupt whatever match her and Roxanne got going on, Roxanne going ape shit on that girl. She going to go ape ballistic banana. She going to make that girl, and then Lyra's going to be like, oh, you now you lost your stuff. I got to put you in your place. You might get more consistency out of this Roxanne with Lyra than you would with any of the Lyra's opponents. Because Lyra, to me, she's been a great champion. She's a workhorse. We're going to tap more into that, how I feel about her. But to see everybody get that opportunity, I know it's pissing off, it's pissing off Roxanne Secor. For her to go in and say that, and like I said, the energy she had going out there had an attitude. The fact that Ren Sinclair held her own, but she still was like, "I'm gonna make you learn that you're not going to you're not going to skip an opportunity over me. You're not going to be the next shining face. You're not going to be the next Kalani. You're not going to be the next Shotzi. You're not going to be the next person to steal opportunity from me." That's what that gave, in my opinion. So we're going to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see, to me, because I don't know how I'm going to feel about heel Roxanne. I know how I'm going to feel about crazy Roxanne, because crazy Roxanne needs to happen. For her to lose all these opportunities and not get a real opportunity to get her belt back, I'm just tired of her saying, "I'm going to win the belt that I never lost in the first place." Girl, we get it. Just say, you and Carmelo need to be on the same page where it's mine. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Also, if she doesn't win, the one thought process that I have is that if she doesn't feel like she's getting appreciated on NXT, she's going to go get appreciated somewhere else, because there's still a brand split and there's still a draft. Go to Friday Night SmackDown, go to Raw. She might get some appreciation. Yeah, she might be the next person Nick Aldon calls and goes, "Listen, I hear you're not feeling great down at NXT. How would you like to be with homegirl Tiff Strat? Because you saw I put her in Australia. I did that. I'm the one who put her in the Elimination Chamber. Her first big match in Australia. I could get you there." We're gonna have an episode where we talk about Nick Aldis versus Adam Pearce. Probably when I do the Drive NXT episode. We're gonna talk about that, because he's sneaky. He on the tip. So real quick, I'm gonna dive into more women business. I'm gonna take this quick break. We're gonna talk about, Black History Month. We're gonna give a shout out to Jacqueline. We'll be right back with more takes on NXT and what happened.
It's really inspiring, and I really feel like representation definitely matters. And if you don't have that representation, you're gonna get nowhere. You're just gonna feel lost. You're gonna get nowhere. So yeah, I literally love that.
Yeah, me too. And then she continued feuding with Trish, Victoria, Jazz. And then in 2004, she won the Cruiserweight Championship against Chavo Guerrero for the Cruiserweight. I mean,
that I didn't know.
But it's I wish they talked about it more, because they China won, a men's belt, but so did Jacqueline.
Yeah, give Jacqueline her flowers. A Hall of Fame ring is dope. Induction is dope, but give her flowers. They didn't even mention that in her Hall of Fame vignette.
Give Jacqueline her flowers, y'all. Gotta give a lot of people their flowers. I hope it was a good call. I hope so. Brandon A. Wilson. Oh, hey, second time in the club. Welcome to Watch What Happens NXT. We got an hour left into the show. It's gonna be a fun show. I feel like it's gonna be fun as far as setting up for Roadblock, but also the continuation. Like I said, we got to build to stand deliver. It's in Philadelphia this year. Roadblock is just going to be a 4TV special live event. It won't be 2 nights. It's going to be one. It's happening next week, I believe. And it's a lot to build into it. So we're going to continue into some building. Speaking of building, something that's been now is another part. And this is the consistency of the storyline that I'm loving, because now that the whole Chase U is finally back in stored, and then the calendar it came and went. Basically, that happens. You have JC Jane finally being the queen mother that she is. She's basically mothering everybody. She's giving them "I'm mother" everywhere. So basically now Jasmine, who she pulled aside in the NXT Anonymous clip, is now ringside with her. She's now joined under the underdog. If she can teach Thea Hale to be a main event attention, she could probably teach Jasmine. They were basically both talking to Thea Hale backstage, and Thea Hale was describing what happened on the Valentine's Day, which I'm disappointed we didn't get a segment on that. That was kind of lame. I wish we'd have gotten some social media segments or something about that date, because I wouldn't have been able to see how I like Thea. She's very comical. I guess because she's young, she's also like being played like I don't know anything about dating, and I don't know anything. Like I'm a college student. Like this is my first time for everything, so I don't know much of anything. So she's playing a great character in that. However, you could see the tension in her and you can see the tension in her and JC, because she's basically like, listen, what happened on your date? And Thea's describing like, yeah, you know, he held the door for me, but I told him I'm a grown ass woman and I don't need you to hold the door for me. Girl. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Peace to the chat. If you're a young fan, watch it. Don't ever do that. Listen, and I'm gonna talk about it because I'm gonna just cut to the chase. When she was like on her phone, she said she was on her phone during the date. He was trying to talk to her. Don't ever do that with a man. Don't ever do that with a girl if you're a guy. Like, and for the first time in that whole entire segment, Ariana Grace was right. Like a lady has to look approachable, has to look available. Like you let him hold the door open for you. You let him suggest the wine on the menu. You be a girl. Like you leave all that I'm a grown ass shit for when the landlord come collect the bill. You don't do that on a date. Ladies, don't ever do that. And then it was funny because they were looking at her like, oh, that's how you took the advice when I told you not to be too available. I was basically trying to tell you, like, leave the excitement for the date. Like, even I understood that from JC, but you just went into a whole nother level. That's like you telling me, listen, buy the tickets for WrestleMania wherever you want to sit, and you be like, I paid $7,000 for a seat, and I look at you like, you paid how much? Like, that's not what I told you. Like, I told you to get a ticket. Like, I told you to just buy a seat wherever you wanted to. Hell, you could have sat behind the Jumbotron. Like, I ain't tell you like that. I ain't advise you like that. You took it your own way. And that's what Thea Hale did. And Ariana Grace was basically trying to give her advice. Like, you took the wrong advice. And then JC was like, don't look at me. How you took it is how you took it. And Ariana was like, that's your best friend having your back. And of course, already that made JC snap. JC don't like when nobody call her out on nothing. She's the savior of Chase U. She's Jace U now, so you don't need to tell her what to do. So now this led to a match. It was Ariana Grace and JC Jane, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I enjoyed this match. They're both of them are very submission heavy. They're both very technical. Like Ariana Grace probably a little bit more technical than JCJ, but JCJ is still coming out of the tag team rustic waters. She's been doing a lot of segments. She's been going a lot of ringside. She's getting more matches now because now the focus is going to be on her because she was kind of the good guy. This time they, like I said, they had Thea and Jasmine escort her to ringside, and Ariana was kind of fending off for herself. It looked like JCJ wanted to go back to her heel ways, so she was kind of pointing like, "Yo, take her out." And Thea's like, "What? No! Like, why would you take her out?" Like and I could think about what's going through Thea's head because Thea, when she had matches, it wasn't like that. Like you couldn't tell that JC was getting involved. Like JC didn't get involved with her matches. Why am I getting involved with your matches? Didn't seem that way. So basically what was also going on was Jasmine was like, do what you're supposed to do. And Jason's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So the second time Ariana was out the ring, Jasmine went to business. Jasmine said, you know what? You don't want to do it. I'm going to do it. And Jasmine in that tight leather outfit and all said, I'm going to make do where it's due. The ref can't see what's going on. I'm going to put her back in the ring. And put her back in the ring to where JJ won the match. The match was good without their interference. But all in all, you also saw tension of Jasmine's like, you're useless. Pushed her to the side and raised Jace's hand. And Jace looked like she ain't had no problem with it. And Thea's finally starting to see the writing on the wall. Like, everybody's ousting me out. Like, my best friend is kind of like ousting me out. The guy that I really had a crush on is ousting me out. Like, everybody's ousting me out. Like, I feel like I don't belong. Like, it was sad to see, but she kind of did it to herself, to be really honest here, because one, no one told you to listen to JC on that caliber. And two, like, you're not a heel, baby. You're a baby face. You're not a heel. The grown ass woman thing was cute. The tight skirts and the leather outfit and the tight top is cute. The light eyeshadow is cute. You are a baby face. You are the girl that everybody's gonna root for. You are the Bailey that everybody misses the NXT. Let's be real. She's up there. All these, like, her and Brinley Reed sit in the same boat. It's hard to hate the both of them. It's gonna be hard to hate the both of them if they go to main roster. It's just hard. It would be very hard to hate the both of them because they're not even small, but they just have that just like that energy and charisma. It's hard to hate charismatic people in wrestling. It's very hard. Like Bobby Lashley, as big as he is, I couldn't hate Bobby Lashley to save my life. You're not gonna get me to boo a Marine with the strength of Juggernaut. You're not going to get me to do it. There's no way you're going to get me to do it. You're not going to make me hate the Street Profits, no matter who they dealing with. No matter if MVP becomes a manager or Bobby Lashley, you're not going to get me to hate the Street Profits. I'm too used to them passing me a red cup and being high flying Jillian and Montez Ford being the good husband. You're not going to get it from me. You're not going to get it from me. And that's what they give me. You're just not going to give me, like, it took a while for Bayley to give me, all right, you're a heel, but I'm irritated with you. But she had to irritate the masses in order to get that far. She had to cut the wacky inflatable balloon figures with a samurai sword for me to be like, oh, well, shit, that's it. It's over. She's a heel now. Go, goddamn. Like, you're not going to get me to hate any of them. And Thea Hill sits in that boat. What my suggestion will be is that she needs to, if they, by praise of God, bring back a tag team championship for NXT because the women need it. I don't know why they unified it in the first place. That was not the brightest idea. They bring that back. If they do give them a female Dusty Cup somewhere down the line, let's see what happens. We still got a month to stand and deliver. If they decide to do any of those things, she could be in the tag team. If they decide they want to finally put the championship belt on her, and take it away from somebody who's like a mega heel in the future, there's your girl. But I feel like it's very hard. It was hard to watch become a heel and be a bad girl. And it's hard to see her pout and be sad. Because it's like, you young, you a baby. You're not understanding what's going on. You like, first you got to learn how to wrestle. Now you got to learn how to deal with the real world and boys and friendships. And it was good to see her in that segment with Fallon because Fallon was once in that boat too. Like Fallon was like, I'm going to be the good girl and I'm going to like, be that yeehaw, and but now after being best by Tiffany so many times, you saw her come out with her aggressive side and go, yeah, bitch, now I'm out here, like have one of her best performance at Deadline, have a championship match opportunity, one contender opportunity after another, and she's also coming up short, and then she got to see her two friends knock the crap out of each other. It's frustrating for both of them all around. So I don't know where it's gonna go with that. I want to watch tonight to see what's going with that, but salute to them. I feel like if once the class of 2.0 leaves, Fallon's next because if Tiffany's already up there, if Roxanne's already out the door, if a bunch of people are already out, I feel like Fallon Henley's next. But they're gonna feature her on NXT a lot more first before they dive her into main roster or anything. Probably give her the belt in somewhere near in the future if it dies in anything. Speaking of the future, the two futures of NXT, I also feel like it's going to have one that I feel like is primed and ready to be a champion. The other who I know is another one she's going to hold down the fort so well when these 2.0 people leave. You had Kalani Jordan versus Lash Legend, and it was a playoff segment that was last week where Lash Legend basically told them like, y'all are all cute, but y'all not me. Y'all not gonna best me. And Kalani basically stepped up and like, put your money where your mouth is. Let's get in the ring. And a lot of people were itching for this match. This is probably my who's up NXT feature is going to be on. It is going to be on both Kalani and Lash. Very good performers. You had Lash finally digging into her power mode a little bit more in this matchup, like she has been a lot more lately, and I like to see that to the point where I feel like if Metaphor, even though we enjoy Metaphor and what they're doing, if that doesn't continue, Lashley is going to do great by herself. Like her tallness, her agility, her ability to move and be a powerhouse at the same time, it works. And in the same breath, you have Kalani Jordan, who you couldn't catch a quarter faster than you can catch her. She's quick, she's on her feet, she's strong, she's not afraid to have agility, she's not afraid of any of that. So with that being said, you have both of them going to the match, just giving you a good old fashioned exhibition. They're the exhibition match tonight. One thing that I know for a fact it dug into was that people need to pay more attention to Lash Legend, because Lash Legend was known for putting on good segments when 2.0 started, and I actually enjoyed the Lash Lounge. I enjoyed those segments. They kind of let go of it when she became a valid to the Pretty Deadly to the tag team. And then now with Metaphor, it's putting her back on the spot as somebody who needs to be featured more. Like she's good at promo work. She's good at playing a character, you know, like she's good at attitude. And then you have Kalani, who's also trying to prove herself. Like, I know I'm the best. And everybody's like telling me to take my time and wait. Like, no, I don't want to take my time. I don't want to wait for anything. I'm just as good as everybody else. And you're going to all see it, whether you want to see it or not. That's just me. So they had a good match. It was, of course, cut short when Jakara, who's doing what she's used for, decided to interfere in the match, causing a brief distraction. Off the distraction, Lash gets the gold. Now, what happened after that segment? Of course, you had Izzy Dane and Kalani Jordan, who are hell bent on taking on whoever's next, who needs to be squashed like a bug. They thought they could do that with Kalani, but Kalani had that Spider-Man outfit. Let me put that back on because her Spidey sense, their gear. Shout out to No Gimmick Gear because they make banger outfits. Like, look at that detailing, like Spidey Lonnie. I like it. Like Spidey Lonnie was in full effect. Literally can't miss. You can't tell me nothing about it. She's so fast. The way she was able to take her foot and jump out and then jump out into the ring and dodge them both and say, you gotta be quicker than that. You gotta move quicker than me. I'm a spider. I'm a jump. So it was interesting to see that. They have a match tonight. You finally have Kalani Jordan going up against Kiana James. So that's probably going to be my who's up next against match 2 because I like the both of them. It's going to be hard for me to choose. But then again, you have another distraction like Izzy Day. That's what Kalani need. Kalani need a friend. She need a friend that's not going to be afraid to shove a girl into the barricade and say, you're not going to interfere. Not in my house. She need a Matumbo on her side. She needs somebody. I don't know if they're going to probably involve Carmen Petrovich because I feel like that'd be the perfect person to help her out. I don't know if it's going to be Bren. I don't know if it's going to be one of them, but I feel like she needs somebody on her side because I know she can handle it on her own, but like people keep interfering in her work. Like she lost the breakout tournament because somebody interfered. She had too many people going up against her in the deadline tournament. She didn't get enough pinfalls. Everybody always cutting into her work. She's good at agility, but she's not good at catching up on what to do when you need to push forward and go into the mist. You need to be able to think quickly and pin quickly. And I think that's what she's missing. I feel like if she can come off the distraction and just be better at distractions or be better at the bouncing back after the distraction, she'll be good. But, you know, ain't anybody worried about Kalani. Kalani is a future girl. That girl's a former champion. That girl's going to be a former champion one day. She'll be a champion one day. I ain't worried about her. So moving on, we're going to move into the final match. We're going to talk about, it was at first Shotzi, but Shotzi unfortunately had injured herself during the match. Her ACL was torn during the match, and you basically had Ava going out. She was unable to compete. And then you had Lash Johnson say, you know what? I'm going for 2-2. Let's go for 2-2. I'm going to come out and I'm going to say, you know what? Give me my flowers. I ain't tired. I ain't scared. This is my time. Every time they take opportunity, and that's what I feel like Roxanne's missing. She should have ran her ass outside when it said we're issuing an open challenge. Where was you? Where was you chilling backstage? Like, what were you doing? Eating Pop Rocks? What were you doing backstage that you couldn't get out here like Lash got out there and literally have the match? Because y'all were all 2 feet away from the door. It's a performance center. It ain't that far away from the locker room. Why weren't you out there? Make it make sense for me, please. But Lash, she ain't losing no sleep, nor was she tired. Banger of a pickup, banger performance. But once again, we're going to get into Live Valkyria a lot more because she's becoming a favorite of mine. Not off the agility that they keep giving her match after match. She keeps slaying it all. But she's holding that championship very well for someone who wasn't looked at being the champion. At first, a lot of people's fray was she's really good. They didn't get a chance to see a lot of her in UK. But for me, when I saw her in NXT UK and she didn't get the opportunity because she injured herself and I saw she was coming to main roster, I was like, good, they didn't throw her out the way they threw out a lot of people from NXT UK because people have been waiting forever for Stevie Turner to get used, and I don't know what they're waiting on with Stevie Turner. I don't know what they're doing. I don't get it. Like, Black Davenport's all over the place. We were supposed to get Satomura, should have been dominating NXT, but she had that World's Collide match, and in the match with Roxanne, and we didn't see anything of her. I'm not seeing disconnect with the UK girlies and the UK guys are doing just fine. Like Noam Dar been carrying that Heritage Cup since he was on NXT UK. Since Nigel McGuinness was back over there. Like I don't see the disconnect, but Lyra's been the only person to really hold it over. I think she's a workforce. I think they're gonna have to push her a lot more. I feel like if she's to go to main roster, she will need to be by somebody's side. But all in all, though, you're never gonna get a disappointing match from her. You're never gonna get somebody who's down and out. You're always gonna get the I love when you count me out because I'm gonna get better. She's gotta grow on people too a lot more. She's gotta grow on people to the point where I trust everything that's going on with you is going to go good. But I'm also going to trust that as soon as this is done, you're going to be back in a new picture, because that's the hit and miss with a lot of the ladies. You're in the picture one morning and you're out. The only person who's had a consistency with being in a main focus is Kalani Jordan, Kiana James. Now that she has somebody, Roxanne Perez. And at one point, it was Tiffany Strat, who was always in the fold. But everybody else is just like here and there. Cora Jade, when she returned too, I was hoping for that, but injuries happen. That's here nor there. It seems like every time we need a consistency of them, they're not consistent. That's why people love Metaphor and Lash Legend and Jakar being there, because besides having their own singles matches, they were always featured. They had the segments and everything. Same thing with Fallon. Like Fallon was always featured when she was with Brooks and Jensen. When she had that thing with Kiana James, it was the first time that the boys were put on the back burner. To me, because a lot of people were more interested in what was going on with Kiana James and how her and Fallon were going to figure everything out than it was with the other piece. If that makes any sense. So, I don't know. Lyra, to me, I don't want her to have, I'm going to tap into that because I'm going to go into a little rant. I'm going to try and keep it PG for my girls, because I promised them I would do that going forward. But I'm gonna go into a little rant because some people that come from NXT go to main roster, they get forgotten. Like the amount of potential that I was hoping from Bo Dallas. Like Bo Dallas's gimmick was perfect. They didn't like that, so they changed it. Ty Dillinger, the Diligent one, his gimmick was perfect. Change that. Big E, they put him in a stable. A lot of people that they were afraid, like, Bobby Roode, even though I know the reason why he's out was injury, but glorious Bobby Roode is like my favorite Bobby Roode. Like, I was so worried about when Bobby Roode was picked out of TNA and put in NXT, what they were going to do with him, because I'm like, why are they sending him to NXT? If anything, him and AJ Styles should be in the same boat. Why are we not putting them both at the main roster? But Bobby Roode, NXT Bobby Roode, that glorious music, that robe, everything, he was able to build himself the way that he could have built himself in TNA. And that was gold, in my opinion. I don't want her to get into the fold of not on main roster, I got to prove myself, because Lyra Valkyria was winning and then still proving herself. The way that, for example, Bayley had to keep women and still prove herself to people within that company. That's my hope and prayer. I don't wish that on anybody. Like, you be on a high on one program, and then when you get to main roster, you like a backstage segment. Like, what the fuck is going on with the Creed brothers? How they treating the Creed brothers, y'all? I want to speak to management, because ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way that's fair. Same thing with Joaquin and Luis from LWO when they were Legata Fantasma. They were a great tag team. Then you see them get to main roster and they like fade into the background. You want them to be the background players for freaking LWO for Carlito, who's barely there. We're gonna talk about the last segment that happened on SmackDown where Electra was able to distract him enough for Garza, for Angel and Alberto to literally like attack them, and where they back up, nowhere to be found. Why are we jobbing the good people from NXT where they were cooking at NXT, and that's always been a worry. That's always been a concern with a crossover main brand. I just Trick Mellow Gang is really that. They always gonna be here. Right now, this needs to happen. You have two young up and coming superstars who are possibly the future of the business that need to make sure they establish themselves as that. After that happens, who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Might end up being unified tag team champions one day. Never say never. But right now, we try. Although we try and wow, that was a bad fall from for Malik. Even though we look at them breaking up, we never say never in this business. So never to say that they might not get back together. But right now, yes, it's so hard to say goodbye. Sorry about that. Quick emergency, guys. Some family stuff. But back to what I was saying. I don't get the understand the disconnect when it comes from Performance Center to main roster. A lot of discourse about it was that it's because in NXT they're making their own characters and they're making themselves work, whereas to main roster you listen to a whole bunch of producers, writers, people that are making segments and stuff happen. There's not that much creative control. I don't know how I feel about that saying. I don't think I could agree with that saying. But my opinion is that they're fearful of no one catching on to what's going on in the main roster, so they don't feature them as much. But the Creed brothers, for example, great performers. We already know that Julius is a freak of freaking nature. We already know that. Like, we already get that. We figured that already. We already know that Brutus is like a bulldozer. So I don't understand the disconnect with that. Like, for example, my hope, and I'm glad that she was featured the way she was featured, was with Tiffany Stratton. They have enough to strap the rocket to her back. They're so impressed with her that she doesn't have to fall into some weird fold of, oh, we're just gonna dibble and dabble her in the title picture and that be that. Like, we understand Triple H is trying to give them breaks, but if you gonna call up people, Trip should know they should be used, especially when you used to run NXT. Like, you should be calling people up left and right. The new people should be bowing the old people left and right. And no way you can't tell me you can't put Julius Creed in one match at least with Drew McIntyre just for him to have a one-off so people can see that he's a fortune nature. Even if you let Julius Creed job, which I should take that back. I don't even want that for Julius Creed. Like, even if you feature them somewhat, like, get them getting backstage segment enough. That's why I feel so great about Ivy Nile being in the Royal Rumble match, even though it was mostly because they want to take all the women out the back and put them in that match. I feel good about her being that because that means she's not a waste in the pan. You see her possibly getting a title match. She had a title match with Rhea Ripley that to me went well. Better than the other matches with certain people that Rhea Ripley had, but it held its own. And I don't get the disconnect. I don't know why it's there. I'm never going to understand why it's there. I feel like if they do that to them, it's a disservice. I feel like they do that to Lyra especially. It's a disservice because Lyra, in effect, doesn't need to be pushed down to just, oh, I'm just here and I'm just here to boost this person up or be this person's backup. She doesn't deserve any of that. She doesn't deserve even a clutch of, I'm just here to have these amazing matches and that you're going to see out of me what you see out of me. Don't do that to her. That's not fair to her. That's not fair to all the people that have worked down there that literally have made the brand what it is. It's not, to me, it is developmental. Yes, I get that. I understand that fully. But that's not Dusty's dream. That's not Triple H's dream. The dream is to set up the future. And when you put them on main roster and you don't feature them as much, or you only give them a handful of matches, or you spotlight them to the best of your ability, and then you don't give them enough opportunity, that's a disadvantage to them. Like, that's a big disadvantage to the people that have worked to make the craft. That's a big disadvantage. I feel like it's Norman Smiley, who, bless him, like, the last of the people who actually are working at NXT and literally still making NXT talent train gut hard, hitting tooth and nail, making sure they're working out. He's had backgrounds today. He's been in almost every promotion. He's your WCW. He's been in New Japan Pro. He's been in CMLL. He's been everywhere. Don't make his good work go to waste by putting the people that he's training, him and Sarah, when they were still training, putting them on main roster and then not having them debut at all, thinking, oh, whenever we're gonna get the chance to use them, we'll get to then use them. And then when we can't use them, guess what? They go right back to NXT. Because Dana Brooke being in NXT twice, you know, Apollo Crews being in NXT twice, the OC right now being in NXT twice, Baron Corbin going to NXT twice. You can't tell me now, and it brings me back to when I was watching the FCW story, which I'm gonna tap into because it's one of my favorite shows on it, and that was to come out of the WWE network. When you talk about the FCW story and how the story of OVW, even in the Ruthless Aggression storylines, being sent back to OVW was kind of like it felt like a punishment. Like Big Show would say that it felt like a punishment because they were always talking about his weight and how he didn't move the way he needed to, so he needed to brush off. So they shipped him back to Ohio. You know, Mark Henry said he talked about how he felt like it was disrespect to him. Like it was kind of like they felt like he didn't need him anymore. And I don't want that for the Creed brothers because the Creed brothers don't deserve that. They're former tag team champions. I don't want that. If Larry should go to main roster and the crowd don't, you know, a crowd of a small NXT center versus a crowd of a much larger, almost 2,000 to 5,000 people. Don't do them a disservice. Have them build on TV. You're gonna bring people up. Have them build on TV so that what's going on with them doesn't go to waste. And I hope they don't do that with Lyra Valkyria. I hope they stop doing that with the Creed brothers. I hope they don't do that with Roxanne Perez. Even the Roxanne Perez don't do that. Like, have them involved in something. Like you had Garza and Alberto go back to NXT, yeah, but now they're back on main roster. Look at them, they're involved in something. You let Elektra Lopez be involved in something. They had to have Dragon Lee go back because Dragon Lee wasn't being properly translated, I feel like, in WWE enough. They probably thought it was too soon, so they sent him back like, here, go up against Dominic because we need a good card for NXT and take the North American Championship and let it be that. And then when we're ready to feature you, we feature you. But they sent him back down to NXT. Like, you sent back somebody who's like a glorified champion with a tag team across the board back to the developmental roster after you built him up in developmental. That's wild to me. And I think it's because they're basing it off a crowd reaction. Like, if the crowd is very hard to understand. If the crowd don't get you, if they're not giving you the "we want Cody" treatment, it's very hard for them to see you in the future. That's why they so big. Like, they were itching to have Braun Breaker go main roster. They probably itching to have Carmelo Hayes. They probably itching to have, I want to say, Lash Legend. They were itching to have Tiffany. They were itching to have all these people because they seen what these people can do. They see the draw these people have. Like, but it's the hard work and dedication of the talent. If you're going to let them go, if you don't feel like it's right enough to let them go, don't let them go. There's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with saying you need to be tuned up a little bit more, so we're going to keep you down here. There's nothing wrong with saying we don't know what to do with you yet, so let's keep you down here. NXT is not a bad program. Like, NXT is one of the best shows. Enough for them to go on a road to get the reaction they get, like the whoop that tricks and the woos and the woof and all the cheers and stuff. Enough for them to get that recognition. The crowds behind them is going to be behind them, which, like I said, I don't want them to get the Bayley treatment because the whole thing that was going on with Bayley, if you go on NXT website on YouTube right now, there's a whole playlist of Bayley. Bayley has one of the best moments in NXT. Like, watching her fight tooth and claw to be proven that she's not one of the weak 4 horsemen, which she's one of the best 4 horsemen in my opinion. That was entertaining to me to watch. That's what made her inspirational to little girls back then. Like side tail ponytail Bayley, you know, shortcut buzz cut Bayley, like damage control Bayley. All of Bayley is interesting. So for her to win a Royal Rumble match, and for y'all to think that y'all don't have nothing to go for the not even feature on the poster is bothering me. It'll always bother me. Why she won the Royal Rumble in the first place if y'all didn't know what y'all were doing with her? Like, it's just given that the reason why they don't care, and I said it before on social media, is because y'all don't care. If y'all don't care about these NXT superstars, if you just watching NXT because you're like, oh, it's Tuesday and I have nothing to do. Like, oh, Kalani's on great. Oh, Lash is on great. Oh, Gallus is doing something great. If y'all don't care about these talents, the booking's not going to care about them. But you got to remember, like, nobody was that. If you're not watching NXT, you're never going to be that excited. you got to be excited about the people coming up at NXT, which is why I'm going to keep doing a show like this until you realize that NXT is a show to watch, because there's so many new people. Like I talk about Out the Mud. I think Out the Mud are tag team championship worthy. You can go argue with your mama about it, because the fact they got Jada Parker there and Scripps can go after the Heritage Cup and have the backup that he needs, which is another thing that might happen if the guys from No Quarter Catch crew don't get it. Is Scripps' Heritage Cup or North American Championship. Let's be real. And they could be tag team, and Jada could be the women's champion, and boom, you got your powerhouse stable right there. You got the with female version of the Undisputed Era that everybody wish Britt Baker would come back and do. You could have that if you want to, but you have to be invested. I'm glad Rakarsha agrees with me. I was hoping I wasn't going off too in a tangent, but we have to start caring, y'all. We have to start being invested in talent, because what's the point of us having NXT if they go to main roster to just filler now because they're waiting for somebody to be injured or be put in the storyline for you to fill her in? You're waiting for somebody to go on vacation and they have a match? Like, that's not fair to them. You're taking these people out the young, and I understand it takes years for career to develop for some people. You could be hot one moment and then cold the next. Who's to say they might not put? And I'm speaking this just from guessing. They might feel the need to not put, Tiffany Stratton out so much. She might have this match with Bianca Belair and get buried. You might not see her for a while. We don't know. But that shouldn't be something that should be on the mind. That should be something that should be what if? Let that loss should continue a storyline. That type of thing. I feel like, and in my mind when I'm fantasy booking, I be thinking that maybe her and Bianca Belair could become a tag team because they've had so many issues together. That's me fantasy booking. I try so hard not to fantasy book, but I'm fantasy booking it. Like, if they're gonna have a WrestleMania match, they're gonna take it off the Kabuki Warriors, and then that's another thing, because Bianca ain't get her lick back from the Kabuki Warriors, aka whoever is in Damage Control, messing with her. That's a thought. I don't think Survivor Series was enough, y'all. That's just my opinion. But in retrospect, right, we have to start caring about the talent. We should be giving We Want Cody chance to everybody who's coming up from NXT the minute they step foot in the ring. Like, I hope they give We Want Braun Breaker chance going forward until he gets the U.S. title off of Logan Paul, which, in my mind, I think that's happening before he gets Intercontinental Championship. I think because if you're going to get somebody who he's showing hints of being a face again, but he's more tweening lately with Braun Breaker. I mean, shout out to him for being on SmackDown. He's tweening lately. And the only person that I know for a fact he would have a good match with, because this person hasn't had a heavy hitter besides Kevin Owens being a match with him, is Logan Paul. So if they want a good WrestleMania one-on-one, it's going to be that. Because I feel like people were thinking this Intercontinental Championship. I think it's too early. I think they got to give that to Jey Uso after Jey gets rid of his brother, hopefully. But I feel like as one of the two or the other, Braun Breaker needs to be champion. And I don't know if they want to do it too quickly, because they made him NXT champion too quickly, and they didn't give him a chance to build character as a face, and a lot of people weren't getting it. Like, a lot of kids, he's great with kids. Like, oh my god, the kids, the boys, the baby boys, they love them some Braun Breaker. If you've not seen them wait outside, because I've seen it before, I've seen them wait outside for this man, for him to come outside and sign autographs. They wait for a Braun Breaker to come outside. He's so good with, he's so appealing to the kids. He's so appealing to the teenagers who want to be strong. Like, him being a heel right now, he has a chance to build a face as a tweener, to build that back up, especially now that he's main roster. A lot of kids are going to be looking for him. If they really want to build him to be that, if he could stop being cocky for 2 seconds, if he could be the funny that he was with Baron Corbin lately, if he could be that level of funny on main roster, definitely getting the gold. I don't think it's going to happen at WrestleMania. Do I think it's going to happen? I think it's going to be a good SummerSlam match. Do I think it's going to be a good, for example, if they do Bash of Berlin, for example, if they need a Bash of Berlin match, I think that's going to be great, because Logan Paul, to me, he ain't doing no matches that ain't nothing international. Like, Logan Paul is not going to be your in Charlotte, North Carolina PLE guy. He's gonna be your Backlash France. He's gonna be your Bash of Berlin. He's gonna be your, if the rumors are true and they're doing SummerSlam in Las Vegas, your Las Vegas guy, because that's the land that he once ruled. He was boxing there. He was UFC there at one point. His brother is dominating UFC right about now in boxing. That's his land. So I see him doing those type of matches, and those type of matches need to happen with Braun Breaker. It's a lot going into it. To end this stream, to not acknowledge the work that these kids putting into NXT and then bringing them to main roster, not doing much with them. And be real honest, you is disheartening. Don't make us forget. Don't make the people who don't watch NXT never know who they are. Because, like I said, with the Creed brothers, everybody should know who Creed is. Everybody, like the way Michael Cole, and I always will give Michael Cole his flowers for this. That's why he's on Mount Rushmore of ring announcers. He always knows the facts. Him, Wade, Corey, they know they facts. The way that they were speaking about Braun, I give them their flowers. The way that Corey spoke about Braun Breaker, the way he said why you need to watch out for this guy, that is going to speak volumes. It did great for his debut match. For the Creeds, the way that Michael Cole basically laid it out for you, their D1 wrestling, Olympic gold medaling wrestling tag teams. Yes, they're in a slump, but in the future, they might be unified tag team champions. That should be the hope for everybody. I don't want it to be a one-off of you don't have enough people to bring up. You have your Creeds, your Brauns, your Carmelos, your Tricks. If you impressed by Trick Williams, great. I hope you have a plan for him when he gets to main roster. Not just him, if he got a partner with Bobby Lashley, if he's got to be, somebody's new obsession, if he's got to be the new flash in the pan that keeps winning, the new LA, like, you got to have something for him. Because look at what it did for somebody like LA Knight. LA Knight was somebody who he had to change his name twice. But people already knew who he was because we got to NXT. But it was his enthusiasm that the people got behind him. They're like, who's this guy? He's exciting. Put him on. Put him in front of us more. And they kept putting him more and more and more. And you got used to him. So that's what I hope everybody takes away from it. Listen, tonight's NXT is gonna, like I said, it's the road to Roadblock right now. Before NXT, you get into road to Roadblock. You got Kalani Jordan finally facing off against Kiana James. You also have Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes coming face to face, probably to announce they will have a title match. Like I said, Robert Stone coming in between Lexis King's match with Obafemi's gonna pay him because now Van Wagner has a match with Lexis King. And then we're going to probably tap into what caused Lucifino. And I'm so glad that Lucifino, also a breakout competitor that was in the breakout tournament, came up short in the beginning. He's finally getting matches now. He's getting out of the NXT level up mud, and he's coming to main roster for a match against Dijak. I feel like what's name's going to come out his straight jacket, interrupt that. Let's be real about that. And also, like I said, you have also Norm Dar going against one member of the No Quarter Catch crew. And the point of the No Quarter Catch crew, of course, is that you don't know who's going to be facing from the No Quarter Catch crew. And then you also have Malik and Idris going up against the OC tonight. Like I said, I think that's going to be exciting. You never know what's going to happen. I don't give no spoilers. If you don't feel like watching NXT and knowing what happened, go Google it. Because that's not fun. I'm not giving you no spoilers. Sorry, that's just me. Before we go, I want to shout out to everybody who was in the chat tonight. I want to thank y'all all for tuning in. Even if you tune in and listen to your background, even if you feel like you want more of these episodes, listen, these episodes are not one and done. I plan on doing this every week until I can't do it every week. And if you watch NXT and you know your facts and you want to chop it up with me, just drop me a message and we'll run it through. I'll have my people call your people. I'll run it up with my bosses and let's see what happens. We can talk NXT. I want to shout out again those wrestling girls for allowing me to power this program, to power this episode. It's been a joy. I really enjoy doing this. It's been one of my favorite streams of the week. It got me into starting to Twitch, got me being on YouTube a lot more, got me being on X a lot more. I hope there's so much more NXT. I hope everybody has their ticket for Stand and Deliver, because you can't do Raw and SmackDown and WrestleMania without doing Stand and Deliver. Listen, I don't talked enough about how live NXT really is. And I understand a lot of people's qualms, or is that they can't do. Somebody said on TikTok, they said, you will never catch me at an NXT show. You will never catch me at watching a Braun Breaker or a Roxanne Perez. You can, after Adam Cole, and like, listen, I love nostalgia. Leave nostalgia where it's behind the door. Okay, leave nostalgia where it's at in the past. It's nostalgia for a reason. Give the new a chance. It's live. It's fun. It's just as good as it's a house show with daring effects. Like, listen. Deadline was worth all the money in the world. It was worth being ringside. It was worth all in all. Tell your friends, tell a friend. Now we can talk about it if they want to come on here. You know anybody? If you know any content creators that are also watching NXT that you think should be on this show, drop them in my tweet. Drop a like. Drop a comment. Retweet this show. Do everything you can to bring this up, because NXT needs to be aware. There needs to be more pre-shows. There's a lot of post shows. Just to shout a few of them out. I'm gonna shout out the Shakers Den, because they also host a NXT post show called NXT Uncut. I'm gonna shout out Josh Gershon, who always goes on every Tuesday after NXT. He was on my show last week, so I'm gonna show him some love someday. I might do a 2-hitter. I might go on NXT. I might go on Gershon's channel right after NXT. After I do this, watch it and go there. You never know. You might catch me on the flip side. You might catch me talking more NXT. We might do an NXT appreciation night. I'm gonna run that through the channels again. See if we could do that. See if anybody's interested in that on Fan Club. We're gonna do it again. Like, NXT just needs to be more aware. It's more a developmental brand. We're gonna look at the new signings. Also, congratulations to everybody who made the 2K game. They had a roster reveal on Friday, and so far the roster reveal includes Carmelo Hayes, Thea Hale, Roxanne Perez, Trick Williams, Cora Jade, Wolfgang, who's a part of Gallus, Fallon Henley, and Chatham Stacks Lorenzo, which is interesting because we're going to dive into a lot more things next week. I want to see more where the family segment is going, because the family segment did happen, because of course, you know, they lost their championships, and you kind of saw Tony go into we need to revamp and reload. I've been too nice. I've been too happy. We're going to talk more about that next week. We're also going to be hitting on celebrating Women's History Month. I'm going to kick off Women's History Month with a lot of throwbacks. Not going to be trying staying away from drowning into the 4 horsemen type things, but after giving flowers to people like Zoe Stark, who's on the main roster holding it down, Io Shirai. You caught that. Diving into the Candice LeRae era, the Indy Hartwell, the Dusty Heritage Cup Classic for the women. I'm gonna dive into all that. We're gonna kick off Women's History Month really strong. We're celebrating Black History Month. We're thanking the Bianca Belairs of the world. We're thanking everybody who's basically held the North American Championship. I have to give their flowers to, because like that championship, like I said, should never be taken for granted. It should never be forgotten, in my opinion. It should never be treated as like a less than. It should be treated as one of the most major stepping stones to being a main roster superstar, like the NXT championship is. Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet, who I have his signed plaque from when he won at the Stand Deliver. The Trick Williams, the Wes Lees, they need their flowers too in Black History Month. Even former champions, the Keith Lees, the Big E's, all of them, the Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston were tag team champions. Like, they deserve their flowers, because in a place where people don't really see them succeeding, they've gone the grain. People have built them enough and watched their talent unfold to hold flowers to them. So I'm giving my flowers to them. Of course, that stream wouldn't be without it. But again, I'm packing a lot of stuff in. I've already started planning for Stand Deliver. I got some people that I'm who I have in store for this Stand Deliver show, I feel like it's gonna be like an episode of Collision. Let's put it that way. Praying that we get that far, praying that everybody gets to Stand Deliver to enjoy it. Praying that I find more people who are just as passionate about NXT like me that want to come in and comment and subscribe, enjoy this show. But as always, like I said, TWG, they're always cooking up something. I'm just a smoke on a wheel, infiltrating the masses. They have a new episode up now. The original podcasting is back, coming out every 2 weeks. They have Wrestling Meets Pop Culture. You have Krista B dropping a sound off. Shout out to her on TikTok doing her thing, dropping these sound offs off because she's blacking on y'all for y'all doing some mess tone. She's gonna stop every time she sees some buffoonery. She's gonna sound off. You got the fan club going on tomorrow night. You have sound off sessions with her doing Pablo Dudon and Crystal Contreras. You have, like I said, Wrestling Meets Pop Culture is one of my favorite things because I always get to see what fashions are coming up and everything like that on the show. There's so much going on. Like we not going to stop. We're going to have a show. I don't want to, in my opinion, everything needs to be focused on, but NXT needs its flowers because it's past black and gold. It's past, black and gold. There's a lot that built it. It's a foundation. We will be doing a foundation episode. I'll probably do a pre-recorded episode. Look out for that. But all in all, I want to thank all of you guys for watching, for tuning in. Once again, it is your honorary wrestling girl, Seindole B. Make sure you tune in next week. I will be doing another show solo. I will be up here talking more about NXT. We will be back on the road stand. We will be going over that roadblock that is coming. I adore all of you guys. Thank you for staying with me in the chat, and I will see you next time. But before we go out, we are going to give you talk about Mr. Obafemi. So, peace to the chat. Peace to you all. I adore you all. Here's my outro, and I will see you guys on the next tip. Bye. Smooches. The first NIL planning to be an NXT champion, which is the NXT North American Championship. He was the first breakout tournament star from the NIL to win the breakout tournament. And a lot of people thought he was definitely going to wait in the cups for the NXT champion. But listen, greatness waits for no one. When an open opportunity comes, it comes. If Lexis King could sit here and go on WordPad and create that dumbass contract, because who the hell put him in the number one contendership in the first place?
Not even Microsoft Word.
He tried it. Notepad. He tried it. Like, how you going to try and do that? Yeah. And it's like, it's just a part of him being a menace. But what I liked, right, was that Obafemi was trying to make himself known. And Lexis came out, blame you. You should have never cut the man off. Because now he's watching. And now he's saying that the minute that, and it's funny, because the minute that he asks Homegirl, that championship is the main event for the night. I already knew in his brain, because,